Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most iconic gaming heroes of our time. But how much about Sonic and his creation throughout the decades do you know? Here are 12 things about Sonic the Hedgehog you might not know. While the original Sonic the Hedgehog game had plenty of interesting zones that would become series staples, such as Green Hill Zone, or even the look and feel of Spring Yard Zone, which would basically evolve into Casino Night Zone, there were a couple of super interesting ones that never made the final cut. Of these, we have concept art for a few with a much more Asian-inspired feel. One is a metallic stage that is noted to have a gleaming gold-plated landscape with a Southeast Asian feel, likely with the working title Gold World Zone. Another concept art shows what we know from an interview with Naoto Oshima likely had the working title of Chinese World Zone. And for reference, many of the interviews and some of the concept art are coming from this book, Sega Mega Drive / Genesis Collected Works. Finally, there's Sonic Mountain / Underwater Stage, which had Japanese-style rocky hills with underwater sections. The illustration shows how the character can spin to move across the surface of the water. There will be various courses to choose from, dependent on skill. Interestingly, this idea of spinning to bounce along the top of water wasn't really ever incorporated except for in one single Sonic game, Game Gear's Sonic 2 in Aqua Lake Zone. Meanwhile, Sonic's ability to run on the top of water was first used in Hydro City Zone of Sonic 3 and would frequently return in future games. Something I personally find interesting is that there's different accounts about the start of Sonic the Hedgehog. KOTARO HAYASHIDA, the creator of Sega's first attempt to rival Mario, Alex Kidd, has one of the main differing accounts in an interview in Sega Mega Drive / Genesis Collected Works. When asked if he was disappointed that Alex Kidd didn't last after Sonic the Hedgehog, he responds, quote, "The idea to create Sonic was also mine. It is my understanding that a lot of the ideas for Sonic were inherited from what might have been further Alex Kidd installments." NANI? It's pretty common knowledge that Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima are the two co-creators of Sonic the Hedgehog, with Yuji Naka serving as the main programmer and designer behind the games, and Naoto Oshima serving as the artist behind Sonic the Hedgehog himself. So this was a really weird find when I first read it. KOTARO HAYASHIDA goes on to state that he created the initial concept for the game and set up a project to foster a response to Mario. Given that Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima have both stated that they had a prototype of Sonic that they submitted to Sega higher-ups to potentially be the new mascot for Sega, I have a feeling what really happened was KOTARO HAYASHIDA was the one who proposed and set up a competition for a new mascot, while Yuji Naka and Naoto Oshima were the two actual creators whose concept won out. When first working on Sonic, Sonic wasn't the hedgehog we all know and love, but rather a rabbit. Yuji Naka's concept for the game was based on his experiences playing Mario. He noticed that as he was playing Mario, you could only speedrun the game at a set speed once you mastered it. He wanted to make a far faster game where people who improved could finish courses faster and faster. As such, the team thought a rabbit, who's traditionally considered a quick animal, was the right animal for the part. The gameplay included using the rabbit's ears to pick up items and throw them at enemies. The team wanted the game to be more simplistic, so they removed that element and decided to look at other character concepts outside of a rabbit. Next was a bear concept who could curl into a ball and roll, which led them to deciding to utilize either an armadillo or hedgehog. Thanks to Naoto Oshima's hedgehog sketch known as Mr. Needlemouse, a hedgehog would win out, leading to the Sonic we now know. Remember how I mentioned Sonic's rabbit prototype involved in picking up items and throwing them at enemies with his ears? Well, this very same prototype would be repurposed 4 years later for a new game in 1995, created by what would eventually become known as Sonic Team, RISTAR. Which is a highly underrated game that you should check out if you enjoy platform games and have the time. Sonic was made blue as his primary color in order to match Sega's corporate blue logo. According to Naoto Oshima, this was also because, in color psychology, blue signifies coolness and peacefulness. It also reflects my hope that the open sky is blue forever. I made Sonic's shoes red so that they could be clearly seen when he begins to run at high speed. Sonic's design and overall attitude takes inspiration from a variety of famous pop culture figures. The first of these was Michael Jackson, who, by the way, will come up again later in the list. Sonic's shoes were based on his boots from the Bad album. Meanwhile, the red and white was an inspiration from none other than Santa Claus. In fact, Naoto Oshima says his dream growing up was to either be a cartoonist or to become Santa Claus. So you can see how that ended up serving as an inspiration. Finally, Sonic's attitude was meant to be based off of the United States then President Bill Clinton's get it done attitude.
Chili dog!
While Sonic is known for his attitude, he originally had a whole lot more which was either cut by Sega of America or due to the limitations of technology of the time and needing to save space on the game's cartridge. For one, Sonic had a human girlfriend. So that infamous scene from Sonic 06? Yeah, that could have happened a lot earlier. This girlfriend was named Madonna, and according to Naoto Oshima, Sonic is smaller than a human, but he had a human girlfriend who is very attractive and would chase Sonic, so it's like a male fantasy. Sega of America nixed this, with then head of Sega America, Tom Kalinske, stating, "Our marketing team did a bunch of revisions on the original Japanese character design so that it was acceptable for the US market. He had a girlfriend named Madonna with this great cleavage. We got rid of her." I think this will be one of the very few times I say this, but for once I agree with marketing and corporate over creative. Sonic also had things which were removed. Finally, he was in a band where he would be the lead singer, Vector the Crocodile on the keyboard, Mock the Rabbit on drums, Max the Monkey on bass, and Sharps the Parakeet on guitar. According to Madeline Schroeder, who's been dubbed Sega of America's mother of Sonic, Sega of America removed this aspect. However, this might have simply been removed because it took up too much space on the Sega Genesis cartridge. There was also even more meddling by Sega of America, who presented a US version of Sonic the Hedgehog's art to the Sonic team. While they absolutely hated it, that's the cover we got in the United States. Regarding all of this, Yuji Naka states that, "In those days, I hated the American change to the look and feel, and I didn't know how the consumers would perceive it. But looking back now, that was one of the reasons it succeeded." Sonic the Hedgehog was created as a collaboration between programmer and designer Yuji Naka, visual designer Naoto Oshima, and game designer Hirokazu Yasuharu. However, after its major success, the team actually split up to create two completely different Sonic games. Yuji Naka quit Sega over various disputes and moved to the United States, where he was convinced by Mark Cerny to join his new company STI. Other members of the original Sonic team joined him, including Hirokazu Yasuharu, and the new Sonic team, now at SDI, went on to develop Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis. Meanwhile, Naoto Oshima stayed in Japan where he became the project director on a new Sonic game for the Sega CD, which would become Sonic CD. It utilized the original Sonic the Hedgehog's code as a base, which is probably why Sonic CD feels, in my opinion, closer to the original Sonic than Sonic 2 does. It's fairly common knowledge at this point that Sonic 3 was only 50% of a complete game. Originally, Yuji Naka and team tried to create Sonic 3 as a 3D game utilizing an SVP chip. However, this chip wouldn't be ready by the time they needed it for development deadlines, thus they were delayed in starting Sonic 3 and only completed half of what they wanted. So they put the rest of the game into Sonic and Knuckles, and Yuji Naka came up with this lock-on technology which would allow gamers to combine the two games for one complete experience. What you might not know though is that other Sega games can be combined with the cartridge for unique add-ons. For Sonic 2, you could now play as Knuckles. For games older than that, you play a special variation of the Sonic 3 and Knuckles bonus stage with a layout depending on the cartridge. Sonic 1 allowed you to play all of these variations. Yuji Naka developed this additional add-on ability completely in secret, with only his development department knowing about it as they had to test for bugs. Even Sega didn't know about this until the game released, and Yuji Naka stated, "All along while I was creating this trick, I was imagining the looks on children's faces, which made it really fun to do." These additional modes would eventually be added to GameCube's Sonic Mega Collection as the game titled Blue Sphere. As I mentioned earlier, Sega of America and the Sonic team, along with Sega of Japan, didn't always get along, and as Sonic became such a major property for the company, everyone had their own input on what was best for the series. And one such example comes from the naming of Tails. In an internal competition to create a sidekick for Sonic, Yasushi Yamaguchi created the winning character with Tails. However, there was a dispute over how to name him. Sega of Japan was convinced Miles per hour, which would sound like miles per hour, was the best way to go. Meanwhile, Sega of America wanted to name the character Tails, even writing a full backstory to the character to try and convince everyone that this name was best. Finally, Yamaguchi found the compromise by using both names. Miles per hour would be his real name and Tails his nickname. That last factoid about Tails serves as a great springboard into the Sonic Bible. This one's a little better known now thanks to Brian David Gilbert's video on just this topic. At some point, allegedly, an internal document at Sega of America was spread, a Bible for all things related to Sonic the teams could cross-reference while making future games, shows, merchandise, toys, underwear, fan art. Oh no. What have these eyes seen? Anyways, this Bible includes things like Sonic being born in Hartley, Nebraska, which is different from even the recent film's Green Hill, Montana, his dad dying in toxic waste, his name actually being Sonny, and his love for...
Chili dog!
No! Whopping beef gloppers. What is this blasphemy?
Do you like conspiracy theories?
No, not really. I actually think they're kind of annoying.
What if they're true?
Okay, now I'm on board.
Well, semi-true.
It was long rumored that Michael Jackson was involved in making the music for Sonic 3. He was reportedly a huge fan of Sega, and there was, of course, a Michael Jackson video game, Moonwalker. And thanks to a 2016 Huffington Post article written by Todd Van Luling, we now have evidence that's very likely Michael Jackson was not only a fan of Sonic, but was indeed involved in helping write Sonic 3's soundtrack. Apparently, the King of Pop decided to pay STI a visit as he was such a huge fan of Sonic 2 and wanted to meet the team behind it. Apparently, this led to him potentially helping write the soundtrack to Sonic 3. According to 3 of the 6 accredited songwriters on the game, Michael Jackson helped write the music, and they would produce high-quality renditions of part of the soundtrack that would eventually be compressed for the game. While Michael Jackson's team was credited with helping contribute to the soundtrack, according to them, Jackson was disappointed with the compressed versions of the songs, thus he pulled his name from the credits. According to Howard Drossen, a California-based composer, Drossen was under the impression he'd be working with Michael Jackson, but eventually told that he wouldn't be, around the time of the major scandal that Michael Jackson had allegedly slept with underage children. According to Roger Hector, an executive coordinator, all of Michael Jackson's music was pulled or replaced. Meanwhile, Sega stated it never worked with Jackson on Sonic 3 and refuses to comment on the matter. It's interesting that so many of the accredited musicians think that Jackson's work was in the game, which leads me to think that this might actually be true. So there are 12 things you might not have known about Sonic the Hedgehog. If you enjoyed this video, let us know by hitting the like button, it really does help. Also, let me know if you'd like to see even more Sonic the Hedgehog facts, as with a 30-year history, there is a lot to cover. What are some of your favorite factoids about Sonic the Hedgehog? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.